I think when you look at the size of those bolts, you'll understand that this has got to be a mistake. So as the miles are racking up in the 4Runner, and I just approached, well, you know, one of those mileage stones, I said to myself, why instead of at the end explain to them what I did, I don't show them in the process what I do. Point being, here's the deal. Just like back in school, let's do a little bit of homework here, which I'm of course going to make it easier for you guys. Grab your owner's manual. This one is usually in your glove box. And I want you to grab this guy right there. And on page 41, you're going to find a maintenance log that looks a little something like this. And that, my friends, is what we're going to tackle today. Step by step, I'm going to show you what they're talking about here for your 30,000 mile service. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is the Vikings Garage, and today we are going to do a 30K at home. Yes, you too at home can do this. No biggie. Before we do take a walk to the car, I just want to show you that you do not need a whole lot of tools to accomplish this. This is really basic stuff. I am, of course, going to include all of these links in the description down below. After a while, guys, stuff like a torque wrench you can always use, so it pays for itself on the long run. Grease gun, if you don't have one, you need to get yourself one of those. And of course, the spill-free coolant funnel, which is super imperative when it comes to doing a coolant flush. This will help you bleed the system like it's a piece of cake. There are some additives, we'll talk about that a little later, and as always, I try to promote and always push OEM, and more OEM parts. So let's start off with this guy. So going down the list here, guys, the very first item is check the driver's floor mat. Well, why do they want you to check the driver's floor mat? Well, please allow me to explain. Without going into too many details, I'm sure you guys remember the unwanted acceleration that Toyota ran into problem with. Well, a lot of, and again, I'm not going to get into too many details, but that problem is that these floor mats were getting jammed into underneath right there, the brake and gas pedal. So check driver's floor mat, correct. Make sure it's within those tabs and not off of them, just loose about. Inspect and adjust all fluids. Usually what they mean by this is, of course, they want you to check to see if any of the fluids are lower than what they should be, therefore addressing issues that might be occurring. And that, of course, includes all the fluids. And as you can see, the only one that, in this case, you should be filling up is your washer fluid, as those tend to get used pretty frequently, and you should be topping it off with every service. Inspect your wipers. This is a very easy one. Honestly, at 30,000 miles, to be honest with you, I would just go ahead and order whichever one you prefer, set of wipers or wiper inserts. I do teach you how to change that. Check the link in the description down below. I am going to go ahead and replace these. I'm not going to show you guys how to do that. Made a video on it. Please feel free to check it out. And I am, of course, also referring to the rear wiper. Now, for the next step, all that I'm going to say here is that obviously to lubricate your drive shafts, you're going to need your grease gun. And I am, of course, going to leave a link because this video in itself deserves a watch. So do go check it out so that you make sure to lubricate every single one of these points. Without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get cracking. Now the next two lines, again guys, I actually made videos for you guys on how to do this. Very simple. Feel free to check it out. Again, the link will be in the description down below. But as you can see here, I'm even doing this one-handed. Not showing off or anything, but this is super easy. Please don't break these tabs. You want to reuse this cover. It's super important that you put it back on. again, if you are interested in getting the correct filter, there's your part number. And as you will see here, after 1 year of replacement, yes, this is very much dirty, and hence why I'm recommending that you replace it. And it's 30K. Oh, wow, we got a little guy just sitting over there. Oh, still alive. Isn't that something? So let's go ahead, put a new filter in there. And I'm going to show you guys a little top tip that I do. As you guys can see here, I have 3 different products here. It really doesn't matter which one you choose. It's all up to you, whichever preference you want. Total Release, Valvoline, and this is Toyota. So we're going to go ahead and use this Toyota. This is basically a refreshener. And what I like to do, of course, this is your up position. So what you want to do is spray this on the up position very lightly. You don't have to go crazy. And what this does is leave a very nice aroma. This aroma then will come through the vents as you use your air conditioning. And that's it. You're done. Place your cover back. And again, if you do want to see how I replace the engine air filter, I did make a video that specifies step by step on how to replace both of these. This next one, it is not included in the list because it is a check that you should always make when servicing your vehicle. I'm referring to your battery health check and, of course, checking the status of your alternator. With this handheld device, you can do just that from the comfort of your home and have peace of mind of knowing that they're both in good working condition. So, while I remove this cover to drain a fluid that you are not recommended to replace by Toyota, but I do replace it, I'm going to go over some other aspects of this list. So, as you can see, for a 30,000 mile service on your 4Runner, there's really not much to it, because when you look at the bottom of your page 41, of course, you guys are keeping up with the homework, right? Additional maintenance items for special operating conditions. I'm not going to cover this, but I'm going to discuss them with you. So this is basically applies to those that have been specifically for the 30,000 miles driving their cars on dirty roads or dusty roads. That's exactly as they have it here. They want you to replace your transfer case oil fluid and tighten the nuts and bolts on your chassis and body, which I can assure you from the experience I have checked this over and over again. I am yet to find one that had chassis or body bolts and nuts loose. Never happens, but by all means, let's check them regardless. Transfer case, fluid service, and then if you go to the bottom, which goes even further, if you're towing constantly, blah, 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 then they, of course, at 30, want you to replace your front and rear differential fluids, along with, of course, your transfer case fluid. Now, for those of you that are doing these particular driving habits, then, again, another link in the description down below in which I show you how to replace all 3 of those fluids. So, again, description section will be your friend on this one. Now, let's continue along. Besides the items that they will want us to inspect, all we have left here really is to change the oil. Not going to do that on camera. I also made a video for that, if you're interested in watching. But here's the one that almost makes the whole video worthy. Although I think there's a lot of good information here, and you guys can agree. And I am, again, reading it as it is written on the paper. Re-torque propeller shaft bolt. Yes, that's exactly how it's written. Re-torque propeller shaft bolt. No such thing. This was misspelled as, I'm sure some of you know, some of you might not know, and I'm going to clarify that right here, right now. A lot of these papers, maintenance guides, and things of that nature, repair manuals, are in many ways translated by someone. That person might not necessarily be mechanically inclined, if you catch what I'm saying. So I have confirmed that with people in the higher rankings that is not a bolt that they were referring to. They were referring to bolts, because you don't have just one bolt. You have 4 on each corner. That is, of course, for your drive shaft. Again, just so you guys know, I have checked hundreds, if not thousands, of 4Runners. I have yet to find one bolt and nut that was loose on a drive shaft. But in case you guys do want to check, I am going to show you exactly what they are referring to. Nothing to see here. I do it every 30,000 miles. Toyota does not want you to do it at 30 or at 60 or not even at 90. But hey, you guys are going to have to stay tuned, because I am, of course, going to cover all those major services. So when does Toyota want you to replace your coolant? Does anybody know out there? If you do, please leave it in the comments section down below. So as far as retorquing your propeller shaft, which by the way, you have 2 propeller shafts, one that goes to your rear diff and one that goes from the transfer case to the front diff. You are going to have 8 bolts, 4 on each side, and that is the ones that they're asking you to torque. Now, I printed out this paper for you guys and didn't even take a second to look at it, but I'm going to show you guys what they are asking us to torque this to, and I think the debate is going to start here, because I got to be honest with you, I am pretty sure that this is incorrect. 65 foot-pounds of torque, guys, sounds a bit excessive, but let me know what you think in the comments down below. If I can give you a top tip to make your life easier, what you're going to need is a 14, but don't grab just any 14. Grab yourself a swivel 14. In this case, I'm using a 3/8 paired up with my 3/8 torque wrench. But I'm going to leave you guys in this scene here, this sequence, with what the 65 foot-pounds of torque actually equals to. I think when you look at the size of those bolts, you'll understand that this has got to be a mistake. Still going. 30. 50. 65. From experience, that is excessive. I'm not going to take this step at this time. What I am going to do for you guys is ask you to please let me know what you think. If I do find in some way, shape, or form, maybe all data will have a different number, I will, of course, make the correction in the section down below. But in the meantime, guys, check them. Make sure they're not loose. Again, I have yet to see one that has come loose or wasn't tight. Usually, if they come in that way, is because somebody has previously been tampering with it. And the very next step would be tire rotation. Me personally, I rotate my tires every 5,000 miles. But yet again, at 30, they want you to rotate your tires. And it goes without saying, guys, do not forget to check your tire pressure. Now, if you were to ask me, is this a good angle? Probably not. But I don't know about you guys, but not only do I do this every 30,000 miles, I do it with every oil change. I do try to put something along the lines of a fuel additive. In this particular case, I'm using these guys. Of course, I'll leave the link in the description down below. But I think it's very smart to not only rely on your gas as the detergent to clean your injectors. Is always good to add a little something extra, even if it's every 30,000 miles. As for the second portion of this service, it's basically a big inspection. Check your transmission for any signs of leaks. And of course, check your ball joints, check the dust covers, check your axle boots. You want to see if there's anything abnormal, brake lines, and so on. You want to check your brakes at this time. With the help of this brake thickness gauge, you'll be able to determine what thickness your pads are. In this particular case, as you guys can see here, mine are down to 6 millimeters, which is roughly average. But basically, you just want to check brakes condition, suspension condition, and just overall condition of the undercarriage. This step is basically an overall inspection of the undercarriage of the vehicle. If there's any leaks found, they need to be addressed, or if there's any type of damage or play in the suspension needs to be addressed. This, of course, goes also for your exhaust system. They basically want to make sure that everything is copacetic and where it belongs. Usually, no exhaust leaks should be found at 30,000 miles, but do check the exhaust system. So what did you guys think? I believe I made it very simple for you guys to follow. As you can see, it's not that complicated of a service to perform. A lot of it, honestly, is just an overall inspection of the vehicle, just to see if there is anything that has potentially gone wrong in the past 30,000 miles. And as I'm sure most of you already know this, odds are you ain't gonna find anything. Usually there is nothing wrong with these vehicles, unless you, of course, are one of those lucky few that takes it into some parts of the country where 95%, 99%, a big percent of the country just is unable to reach because they're very remote, lots of rocks, lots of climbing, lots of bouncing around. Otherwise, if you're driving this car, somebody said stop saying car, so what should we call it? Truck. If you're driving this truck like we all do, then chances are you, my friend, are not gonna find anything in the inspection. For those of you that do follow all the steps, I'm gonna throw another freebie here for you guys right there in the corner. Go to the description down below, see that video, and I'll show you how to reset your maintenance light. These videos with the cool features have a lot of hidden gems. If you haven't checked them out, feel free to do so. On that note, guys, if you found this video to be informative and helpful, I would much appreciate if you guys could help this channel by liking the video. This way the video stays up on top, and people that need to get reach of this information will be able to find it easier. Sorry, the cold is again messing with me. As far as subscribing, I hope I have gained your attention by now. If not, maybe on the next one. Till the next time, guys, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next one.